evening, everyone, and welcome back to the View for the matchday preview, and I suppose a bit of a review from the Hull City game and the preview to the Burnley game. It's been a big weekend. Results probably couldn't have gone any better than we would have expected, so it means that the game on Monday night is a 6-pointer for Leeds and could really change the landscape of how the promotion race is. It's not the be-all and end-all. There's plenty of more games after this one. We were talking before we came on, probably a must not lose as opposed to a must win, but a must win would be nice as well. There's a bit of news floating around tonight on some transfers before I introduce Andrew Stats Dalton. I just thought I'd give you a quick update. According to Florian Plettenberg on Twitter, he says that Bayer Leverkusen are exploring a loan deal for Emi Buendia, and the 20-year-old attacking midfielder under contract at Aston Villa till 2026. Leverkusen consider a loan with an option to buy, Villa demanding an obligation option. Another club is also said to be in the race for him. That could be us. But Buendia is seen as a replacement for Martin Terrier, who will miss the rest of the season with an Achilles injury. So there you go. We might not be getting Buendia now. This was always the risk that if a European top club came in, we'd lose out. That's the problem. But anyway, we'll see how that one goes. We'll keep up to date with it over the next couple of days and weeks. There's 9 days left in the window, so plenty of time, plenty of things to talk about. But first thing to talk about is Andrew Stats Dalton. Andy, how are you, man? You
I'm
well?
very well, thank you. Yeah, it's been quite 14, 16, 18 hours, isn't it? The results, certainly last night, having watched Hull City comprehensively win at Bramall Lane, and I thought they were brilliant last night. I thought Joffrey Gard had a really good game. And then today, Plymouth Argyle, just as we literally came on air, have equalised Sunderland in the last minute to ensure that game finishes 2-2. So the results probably have
JB assist.
Yeah, absolutely. Agent Diaby and Agent Gelhardt doing the job, so the result probably couldn't have got us any better. So yeah, it's a big one on Monday night. These are the games that you love. I know you described it as a 6-pointer. It probably is a 6-pointer because if we go to Turf Moor and win, then we're 6 points clear of Burnley, and we're in a very, very good position. Okay, the season's not over, nothing's decided on Monday night, but it can go a very, very long way to deciding where Leeds will be, and it's a wonderful opportunity to go to a team that don't concede. They won very handsomely midweek at Home Park. So yeah, but it's a game I'm very much looking forward to. I think everyone will be when they wake up on Monday morning.
Yeah, it is a big game. There's a couple of comments coming in just to go through them pretty quick. Does Manor Solomon have a recall clause on his loan? He does not. He won't be going back to Spurs. Ange Postecoglou was asked about this during the week and gave the shortest answer you'll ever get. He was asked, will he be recalling Manor Solomon? He said, no.
No.
That was the end of his answer. End of story. So yeah, everyone's in the house tonight. It's great to see everyone. It's slightly unusual doing this on a Saturday afternoon because we rarely have a game on a Monday night, but it is a nice one. But we want to talk about the game at midweek, because it's weekend now, midweek against Hull City as well. Good win for Leeds. Again, Stats, we talked about this. It's probably not beautiful football, but it's match-winning football right now. And 3 points is really, at this stage, all that matters.
Yeah, it's funny because I was asked by Popey back in November, and I think I might have mentioned this on the show previously. The football, it's not the sexy football that we came accustomed to under... is that the Joe Donahue, or was that a different Joe Donahue?
I don't think it's the Joe Donahue. If it is the Joe Donahue, let us know.
Yeah, thank you.
I doubt it, though.
And everyone's saying style and this, that, and the other. But to me, and I use the example, Arsenal back in the 80s and early 90s won a league winning games 1-0 and conceded 18 goals. Yes, it might not be pretty football, it's getting results. And the aim this season was always to get out of this league by hook or by crook. We're top of the league. Okay, we took the lead after 30 odd seconds. Dublin, Joe. Thank you, Joe. On Wednesday evening, and we deserved. I don't think Norwich really threw anything at us. I don't think they were great, and they got the job done. And that's all that matters. It's back-to-back victories after the disappointment. Obviously, the dropping points against Hull City and dropping points at home to Blackburn. So yeah, and all you can do is win your games and see how it takes. And we've got an opportunity here. Okay, it wasn't the greatest of football to watch on Wednesday. It doesn't have to be. Each results at the moment at this stage of the season, and once you kind of get over sort of February, March time into the business end of the season, these are the kind of games that really, really do count. So yeah, another 3 points, similar to the Sheffield Wednesday game. Okay, 3-0 might have flattered us against Sheffield Wednesday on Sunday lunchtime, but 3 more points, 3 goals, thank you very much, clean sheet. Same on Wednesday night, 2-0, 2 goals, 3 points, clean sheet. Can't ask for any more than that, and we're top of the league.
And plenty of tourists in the house on Wednesday nights. That's myself and my partner included. And I got a
Yes.
picture for all these stick I hear tourists getting. The upper tier was
Yes.
loud and very boisterous. So the tourists turned up and they made some noise as well. So I hate that term tourist. I really do. It bothers me.
Yes.
They made a lot of noise. The atmosphere was fantastic on Wednesday night. In parts, South fans
Yes.
got a huge amount of credit as well. They kept it going when it was getting a bit flat. They didn't stop. They just made sure it went again and
Yeah,
again.
it did. It did.
And it was
It
really
did.
good. But an early goal, two very important players. I think I put it out in the news this morning, stats, and you'll probably be aware of this, but I'll give you the numbers anyway. Our two wide players, Solomon and James, who both combined for both goals. So James has got 7 goals, 4 assists in 22 league games. Solomon, despite his injuries, has 5 goals and 5 assists in 21 games. Between the two of them, they've been directly involved in 21 of Leeds' 53 goals this season,
Wow,
which
that's
is
incredible.
39.97% of all of our goals. So round that off to 40%. So both of them have been directly involved, either scoring or assisting in 40% of our total goals so far this season. And people want both of them taken out of the team and Ramazani given a shot. Like, you can't really, can you? When you look at that and the impact that they're having, they've been massive this season.
No, and they've been key. And I actually said, I think on Wednesday night, that Dan James probably our player of the season. So people might disagree, people might agree. Dan James has been absolutely brilliant. He's involved in so much football as well. So they've been brilliant. The wingers have been brilliant. Yes, it's great to have an option to bring Laji, Ramazani, and Willie Nonto on as well. But at the moment, you can't really rest or drop players, so to speak. I think it'll be interesting after this week. We've then got Cardiff at home at the start of February. We then go to the CBS to face Coventry City, who are slowly starting to turn things around under Frank Lampard. And then I think we've got the FA Cup against Millwall, so we may rest and rotate leading up to those games. But it's all about Monday night for me, and the players that have coming in are doing a brilliant job. And a word on the Meslier a little bit as well. But I know we kind of debated after the whole game, would he start, would he not start? Okay, probably looked a little bit shaky against Sheffield Wednesday, but he grew back into the role, made one really, really good save as well against the Owls, and kept a clean sheet against Norwich City. And you can't ask for any more than that. He's come back into the team, 180 minutes, 2 clean sheets, job done, and that'll do his confidence the power of good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was expected that he'd be a little bit shaky coming back in, considering what had happened and all the stake and everything else. And he was a bit wobbly. The ironic cheer got itself out of the way on Wednesday night, so he caught a ball to give him the ironic cheer. That's done now, behind us. We move on. Farke's not going to drop him. We're not going to buy a goalkeeper this January, so we have to settle in on the fact that unless he, and we've said this before, if another mistake is made by Meslier, it's not Mellier's fault. It becomes the manager's problem because he decided to put him back in and knew that was a possibility. So we move away from that then and we focus on the rest of the pitch. But I mean, team news wise, coming into this game, we're in a reasonably good spot. Pascal Struijk is likely to be back in training this week. Pat Bamford is 2 weeks away, but should be back in training.
Yes.
Assuming he gets past the 2 weeks and comes back. And then Daniel Farke did say the information he's got right now on Pascal Struijk is no tendon injury. It's just the hamstring. Should be okay next week. However, given he was told that last year, and it ended up being 3 months, he needs to keep one eye on it, and he won't go to sleep in the market either for that. So good that they're covering their bases as well. But that's all for Leeds. Pretty much everyone else seems to be available. Look, probably a couple of stiff bodies, but they've got plenty of time to recover for the game. Burnley, however, are coming into this game missing a ton of players. They're missing Jordan Boyer, Aaron Ramsey, Enoch Ajayi, Manuel Benson, and Nathan Redmond. They're all unavailable for Burnley coming into the game on Monday night. So it's going to be an interesting game. There was a comment that came in here from Nipper, who just said, statement victory against Burnley on Monday nights. And then he said, do you think Burnley will play with a low block against us? And I didn't really think that they would, stats, but given that they're missing so many players, they are at home. You would expect them to come out and play a little bit. They have got a chance to obviously go win the game and close the gap on the top. They'd look at the results this weekend and think we've got a really good opportunity to move closer to the top 2 or get into the top 2. So it's an interesting proposition. They don't concede goals, Burnley.
No. They've conceded
they don't
9
score massive amount except for the 5 during the week, which is
it's best attack versus best defense. On I think we're still best attack, after not included today's scores at all. And It could be either a ball draw and both sides sort of cancel each other out, or it could be a very exciting game and it could end up 2-2 or 3-2, anything like that. Now, I kind of allude to the games last year against Leicester City, home and away, and Ipswich Town, home and away, and we took 12 points. Okay, albeit we didn't get up in the end, but it shows we've got the mentality to go to the top of the table sides and get the result. And I think what people are forgetting is Leeds are top of the league. There's a reason Leeds are top of the league, because they're grinding out results. So there's no reason for me why Leeds can't go to Turf Moor and win. And if it's a 1-0 scrappy 1-0 victory, so be it. You then clear at the top. And it'll be interesting to see how sort of both teams line up, both tactics wise, because as you rightly say, Scott Parker has done a really good job at Turf Moor. I know they came down with the parachute payment because there was a few memories at the start of the season that was it going to last or not. And to be fair, he has done a decent job at Turf Moor. But then you look at the job Daniel Farker's done, and I think I read this week he's managed 400 games in this league, so he certainly knows what he's doing. And he's the top of the league for a reason. For me, Leeds will go there full of confidence. I don't buy it that Leeds should be scared of Burnley. We're top of the league. We've got the best attacking stats this season. We've got most goals scored this season. Why can't we go there and win? Yes, I know it's difficult. Yes, I know they don't concede many. However, they should have lost to Sunderland the other week. They missed 2 penalties, didn't they, at the end? Isidore missed 2 penalties. And by the way, had someone got those points and won today, it could have been a very different story. So, yeah, for me, Leeds have got to go there and be confident. Yes, would I take a point? Yes, of course I would, because you're away from home against a rival. That's exactly what Neil Warnock said last night. But
I was going to say, is this Neil Warnock in disguise,
yeah,
Andrew?
I was going to say, yeah, after the Sheffield United Hull game last night. But Leeds have a tremendous opportunity to go to Turf Moor and open up a real gap at the top of the league. And if they do that, I think looking ahead to the Cardiff game, they're in an absolutely magnificent position.
Yeah, I mean, the logical thing to say in this, and Stephen said it here as well, a defeat, though, would feel bad. You wouldn't be the end of the world. A point wouldn't be the end of the world either. On Monday night, you've got a little buffer there. But when you look at that table, for me, the way I always look at it is I always want to be more than one result in front of the team behind us.
Yes.
And right now, Sheffield United are still only a point behind us. So a point for us makes it 2 points of a gap. Still one result can get them top of the league again. So getting the win on Monday night just makes it 4 points. Even if they get a win and we get a loss in our next game, we have that buffer. And that can help us to kick on again. It puts a little bit of pressure on them to have to chase. So for me, that's important. And I think a win against Burnley means that they're, I've already said that they're 6 points behind us at that point. And it's starting to open a little bit of a gap. And that's what we need to do, because I know I keep saying this and at some point people will start pulling me up on it, but I keep an eye on the March international break with one eye all the time, because it's the one that has been Leeds' Achilles heel over the last couple of seasons, where we've been impacted heavily by that international break. So I would like Leeds to have a bit of a buffer coming out of that, so that if there is a bit of an injury worry or some poor results on the back of tired legs, that we've got a buffer that we can push through and then keep going. And yes.
And the thing is, if
Andrew
we do
says
win,
the same thing,
not only do we go 6 points clear of Burnley, you're then 7 points clear of Sunderland as well. We're 4 points clear of Sunderland at the moment, and all of a sudden that's two teams that they've got to win 2 more games than Leeds. And I know, look, we're at game 29 on Monday evening, and then you suddenly get to Cardiff at game 30. You then start thinking the permutations: how many do we win? How do we not need to win? And all of a sudden, you go to Turf Moor, you get 3 points. I'm not saying we're going to win, I'm not saying we're going to lose, but you get 3 points. You're in an absolutely fantastic position, and the confidence that'll give the players going into the remaining sort of 16, 17 games of the season will be absolutely immense.
Yeah, absolutely. The confidence, it's momentum at this point of the season. It's about picking up points and knowing you can keep on doing that. And we're on a really good run. We look at the records, and the way I like to do, actually, because it's been there on the screen, Nipper's saying it. Let me know your score predictions in the comments, and we'll get to them at the end. But stick them in now, and I'll push them all to one side, and we can cover them all at the very end. But when you look at the records of the both sides, Leeds coming in as the away team in this, and it's still our wobble. It's our away form is still our wobble, because we're 4th best in the league. We've dropped down a place in the away table. We've had 2 wins, 2 draws, and 1 defeat in our last 5 away games. We've won 5 of 13 games away, which still needs to improve, but not the worst in the world. But when you look at Burnley's home record, it's not good. It's really not good. They have the 11th best home record in the division, and in their last 5, they've only won 1. They've drawn 4.
That's the thing. I think stats can sometimes now put a lot. I do stats myself, but stats can
It's
sometimes
your
be a little
name.
bit. I know it can be a bit misleading, and you say it like that, you're thinking Leeds have got nothing to be frightened for. That they don't score that many. Okay, they don't concede many. They've got very good defence and an unbelievable goalkeeper in James Trafford, but Leeds have got the best attacking stats. And you put Manuel Solomon and Dan James on the two wings, and probably have Ethan Ampadu in the midfield role with Ao Tanaka. Leeds have got wonderful an opportunity to go to Lancashire. It's a Rose's battle. It's full of vigour. Be a tough game, but I'm hoping Leeds have learned the lesson from last season, because you rightly say the international break after March just slightly knocks a little bit, and then look at the results after that: Watford, Coventry, Sunderland, etc., and Blackburn as well. The results went astray. This season, I think they've learned the lessons from last time out, and there's no reason for me that they can't go to Turf Moor and get 3 points.
Yeah, it says Johnson said we're in the grind part of the season now. Who has more tools in their box this year, and that's what it's going to come down to, options. And I just, again, going through the numbers that we've got from James and Solomon from the wide areas. You've got Ramazani, who's back in form and looking really sharp. Nonto will come back into form at some point. I've no doubt about that. Pero and Joseph will keep chipping in with their stuff when they're needed. Midfield is doing well. I thought Joe Rothwell was really, really keen to score on Wednesday night.
I know,
because
he
was doing these little 1-2 triangle angle passes to get a setback for a shot. And you could see him 4 or 5 times. Like, he's dying to just wrap his foot around one of these passes.
Yeah, and kill it. Yeah.
It would have been great. But there's all those options. We still have a really strong bench. And there's a confidence in this team. We're not conceding goals anymore. Like, what's our record? 53 goals scored, 19 conceded. Only Burnley and Burnley are the only team with a better defensive record than us this season as well. So it's a really strong position for us to come into this game. And with the team that we've got, with everything else, we should be strong. I'm laughing because I was going to mention that, but I didn't. To dive, my God, for a penalty. I screamed penalty, but I was 400 miles away and I had no glasses. Yes. So for me, and I was convinced Hero scored the first goal. That's how bad my eyesight is when I'm up there. So yeah. I did scream penalty when he went down. Thought it was nailed on. Saw it afterwards. It wasn't. But at least he's making those runs into the box. He's creating chances and he's keen to get forward. Even at 2-0, they were still keen to get forward and try and get a third. So there is a moment, we've said it for 2 years, that's where Leeds are going to pummel somebody. It's going to just click. All the chances they create are all going to go in some night. Yeah. Might not be this one on Monday night, but again, looking at the totality of this, we've said Sunderland 2-2 draw. That pretty much, they're now 4 points. What are we? 55 points. They're 5 points away. If we win, 8 points. Yeah. So pushes them out of the equation. Hull beating Sheffield United. Didn't stem. Chris Wilder, or Warnock Jr., has all the excuses lined up about why he's not winning. Talked about the fixture calendar not being fair in them. I think Stats, we've got a fair shout on that one ourselves to put our hand up and go, we've had 3 games in 6 days as well. You're not the only one. So.
And the thing with the fixture calendar, I don't buy that, because you play each team twice. You play 46 games in the league. It doesn't matter when you play a team. You look back to last season, Leeds played Swansea away, Plymouth away, back to back. I think they had Chelsea in there as well, and the trips were absolutely mental over that period of time. You have to play each team. It's something that Alex Ferguson kind of moaned and bemoaned at times, that it was so cold in other teams' favour. The fixture calendar is worked out months and months in advance. You're going to get injured, you're going to get suspended during the season. You have to play who you've got to play twice a season. It doesn't matter when you play them. You'll be in form, you'll be out of form. You'll have injuries, you'll have suspensions. I don't buy that as an excuse as a fixture calendar. We're playing Burnley on Monday night. That's our next fixture. Sheffield United lost, and Wilder can kind of moan all he likes about the fixture calendar. Not for me. You play each team twice. There's 23 teams in the league, 24 teams in the league. You play each team. You play 46 games. And at the end of the season, I always maintain you finish where you deserve to finish.
Yeah, and we've not brought the excuses this year either, because we have a ton of players that go on international duty. Most of our squad is gone. Correct. Like Daniel Farkas had 6 players and has had to bring the under 21s in for training because of the international break. We don't complain about the international break, and when our manager does mention it, we're the first ones to say that's the problem with having a really good squad. You've got to deal with that. It's part and parcel of football. Deal with it and move on. So we don't even accept that as an excuse on our side. So yeah, it seems unusual to be complaining about the fixture calendar when someone like Chris Wilder knows this division inside out and back to front. Correct. There's nothing that should be surprising him in this. But it feels to me like he's just packing up the excuses just in case he says we're miles ahead of him in terms of quality. They brought in Brentford and Diaz. They brought in Tom Cannon, and they're possibly looking at bringing in Chowdhury as well from Leicester.
Yes,
so, I mean, come on, let's be honest here. It's a wide open playing field. Everyone has the same thing to deal with. We all have our own different issues. Correct. They're all independent of each other. We all deal with them. We move on. So we get into the game then. So where's your head at with this Scott Parker side? People don't love Scott Parker. I'm not a massive fan of his. I don't think he's a great coach. But I think he's very effective at this level as well.
Yeah.
He's similar to Daniel Farke. He knows how to get teams out of this division.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough game. Where's your head at coming into the game, and what do you think we're going to do results-wise?
I think it'll be a similar game to the one at Ellen Road. Now, if you go back to the game back in September, Leeds had a wonderful opportunity with Mateo Joseph, I think, after the first minute, and if that goes in, it's probably a different game. Mano Solomon then slips for the Burnley goal, and then Leeds are chasing the game, and Burnley got that low block. I think Leeds have learned from that. Daniel will have had Burnley watched, whether it be against Sunderland, whether it be against Plymouth. I don't think you can take much from the Plymouth game when you win 5-0. But as Kelvin really says there, neither side have really hit form. No side have really blown away to, okay, Burnley won 5-0 of the week, but that was against a very poor Plymouth side of a bottom.
We still feel like we're in third gear,
Yeah, and I felt that a little bit on Wednesday night, should I say. I think it'll be a tight game. I think it'll be a compact game. And I actually think Leeds will go there and win, because I think the players will be so up for it and wanting to right the wrongs of just missing out last season. You eating a sandwich. They have got a wonderful opportunity to not so much seal anything, because nothing is won at the end of January, and there's still a lot of football to be played between now and May the 3rd when Leeds go to Home Park. But Leeds have an opportunity here to put a gap between themselves and Burnley and create a 6-point gap. And if you can do that going into a Cardiff City game, which won't be easy as well, because Omar Reach just got them started playing a bit of football, and have got some decent results of late as well. But I just think it'll be a feisty game. These games always are.
Cardiff haven't lost in their last 5 games.
Cardiff, yeah, I think they're in a little bit of form.
They're moving up the table pretty quickly, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
Very much.
3 draws, 2 wins in the last 5, yeah.
And I think Leeds are unbeaten in 11, I think, or something along those lines, since losing at Ewood Park back in November. So Leeds will go into every game confident, and I'm sure Daniel will have the plans worked out. I think it'll be the same team. There's the old adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So to me, it'll be the same 11. I know people have said bring in Joseph for Pirro. I don't see that. I might be wrong, but I just don't see it, because you don't chase a winning team that has won the last 2 without conceding. So, yeah, I think it'll be a very hard game, but I think it'll be... I'll give my prediction at the end, but I do think Leeds will win the game on Monday night.
Yeah, quick question. I'm going to come back to this in a sec, but a quick question coming in saying, would we buy Solomon and Rothwell if we were promoted? I think you try and make Solomon permanent. I'm not sure about Rothwell. I like Joe, but I think he would end up being a squad player, and I think he wants to play football. So I think he'd end up back in the Championship on loan. So I don't think that.
There's 2 ways of looking at it, and I always maintain at the end of each season, the board of directors, the recruitment team will have a list. They'll have 2 lists. They'll have one list if we are in the Championship, which I hope we're not, and they'll have one list for the Premiership on players. And I'm sure Adam Underwood and Daniel Farke will sit down over the summer and see what the plans are. So I'd love to keep Solomon. Rothwell, again, you're probably right, so wants to play first team football, whether he gets opportunity in the Premier League remains to be seen. If we were to go up, the recruitment has to be spot on. If you look back at 22-23 when we got relegated, it didn't quite work out for one reason or another. Luis Sinisterra, great start, got injured. Tal Adams, great start, got injured. Brendan Aronson,
still
great
injured.
Start.
Should be said.
Yes, absolutely.
Still injured.
Brendan had a great start to the season, faded a little bit, came back in sort of back into the season. I think Victor Orton, all that, we've done that to death basically. But I actually think they'll learn the lessons, and if we touch wood, we do win the league and go up, they'll get the recruitment absolutely spot on. Because you look at Forest, I know they've been battered today. You look at Bournemouth, unbelievable. That you start that first season, I know it's a chat for another day, but you start that first season, you can build and build and build from it.
Yeah, when a manager that we looked very strongly at before we brought in Javi Gracia, we looked at Andoni Areola and wouldn't pay the money for his release clause.
I know. What
and now you look at what he's doing. Arne Slot was the other one we looked at as well, and he's doing what he's doing. So, look, I think what we've seen from the ownership is I think they can identify really, really good targets from managers, players, to everything else. It's just about getting them over the line. I think back in the Premier League next season, is a big opportunity to push on with this ownership group and see what we can do. The money's not going to be massively loosened because we've got 2 years in the championship as part of our 3-year PSR. So our 105 million losses goes down to 86, I think, or something like that. So the first year will be tricky. But if they're smart with that window, they won't have the luxury of doing what they did this season and waiting to see the first month of the season out before they finish their signings. If Leeds have a slow start to the Premier League, they could be in big trouble before they even get outside the transfer window. So there are a lot of things to consider during the summer. From what I've seen from the transfers that have been linked with Leeds, the bulk of them all appear to be summer moves. Should Leeds go there, and I think that's where the mindset is at. If they can get people in the short term, they will. But I think that the mind is more set on the reinforcements in the summer, which I think there will be considerable amount in certain areas. At least the spine of the team would need a lot of quality and experience in there to make sure we can maintain ourselves there. Stats Daniel Farke talked during the week, and you referred to this game as just another match, and not in the way that Maresca did it last year, where it just he did Leeds team talk for us. Yeah. What he said was the whole game is as important as the Burnley game. Every game is as important as
and I think the way Enzo Maresca built it up, didn't he, last season when we played Leicester back in February last year, that it was
big game
the
for
game.
Us, not for them.
Yeah.
But he said not a big game for us, big game for them.
And okay, they won it in the end, and look at the position now, and it sounds like Reeve on this
we won the game, though.
We did win the game, yes, granted. It sounds like Reeve on is probably going to be out of a job sooner rather than later. And it is just another game. Yeah, it's a big game. Of course, every game is big between now and the end of the season. But it is just another game. And that's the thing. It's another 3 points. You don't get 6 points for beating Burnley. You don't get 10 points for beating Burnley. Yes, if we were to win that game, we do go 6 points clear. And that's it. You win the game. You move on to Cardiff City on Saturday afternoon. But yeah, and I like the way Daniel is playing it down, and I think the way Maresca did it, although they've just taken lead against Manchester City now at Chelsea, the way Maresca did it, he built it up for them, just another game, and he kind of did all his team talk for us last season, and I know Daniel wouldn't do that.
No, it was a good answer. It was a very political answer, but sometimes I said this during the week about things that Farke says, especially about the transfers. Daniel Farke, for me, is not a manager that says things for effect. He says something if he has something to say. If he doesn't, he says nothing. He didn't want to get into about this game, so he said it was as big a game as any other game. That was the end of the conversation. Political answer. Moved on for me. He loosens the lips a little bit when he wants to talk about something. I think we heard him this week pretty much say, I want 3 players. And he did this at this point of the transfer window in the summer as well. So when he has something to say, he'll say it. But I think in this situation, it was the right decision to make, to play it down a little bit and just, it's just a game of football. It's a championship. There's a ton of games after this. And I agree with you. I personally think that this will be a really tough game for Leeds. And I'm not 100% sure that we win this one, because in my head, we will lose more games this season. And I'm looking at who we're likely to lose to. Yeah. The only team I can think of that's going to beat us away from home at this point is probably Burnley. So I'm stuck in that. I'd take a draw right now if you offered it. But I would love us to do what everyone is saying here and go and get a statement win and really put a number on the board and say to everyone, come at us, But I think it'll be a very tactical game. I don't necessarily think it'll be an overly exciting game, but we have a couple of comments to get into, stats, that will add to these comments as well. I'm start from the bottom. We've got a lot of other bits around to get into, but 2 seconds. Let me get the right comment of all the scores saved. There we go. We think Fernie play a low block. I think somebody else said in the chat as well, I would see them going in with a mid block. I think it's still fairly effective against Leeds, but they'll want to come at us as well. They're not going to want to sit back at home. Their fans won't accept that either.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference. They're at home. It's not like they're going on the way from home. I think they're at home. They'll have more of a mid block, and that might invite Leeds onto them later in the game. Leeds are a very good counter-attacking team we've seen all season, and I think that's probably the tactic that Daniel Farke will use on Monday evening.
Yeah, we'll get through some score predictions before we get to the final comments and wrap up for this evening. We've got a 2-2, a 1-0 win, a 2-0 defeat. Oh, no, a 2-0 win because we're away from home. 2-0. 1-0 to Leeds, 2-0 to Leeds, 2-1 to Leeds, 2-1. Flip a coin. I agree with you, Brian. 2-2 draw. Yeah. Chris is going for 1-0 win, 0-0. 1-0 to 1-1 to Leeds, 1-1 draw. A 3-0 Leeds win, Burnley 0 Leeds 2. I like the way Nipper's done this with the hands. I'm the same. I'd like us to win, but I'm just not 100% sure about it. Yeah, I'm not sure if we take a draw, but I'll go for a 1-0 win. Danny is saying a 2-1 Burnley. Sorry. I said the same thing in our group chat. I went 1-0 to Burnley. I'm really sorry. I hope we win. Question: who starts, Joseph or Piru?
I'm not doing that again.
Piru.
End of story. Yeah.
End of deal. Yeah, he's scoring goals. Leave him in there. He scored a goal for me on Wednesday. Like nobody else in the stadium, but for me, he scored a goal. So I'll take him. As far as I was concerned, he scored. 2-0 win from Karen. Stephen saying Sheffield United buying 4 or 5 players. It's just that could rip the team spirit apart. It's possible. Could also kickstart them as well. You never know. Allison's going for a 2-1 loss, draw at best. Yeah, no, I think we're all in the same bracket, though. I think we're all we are going to lose a game at some point.
Yeah.
Probably that one. But one all written all over for me as well. I'd like a draw. I'd take a draw. I really would take a draw. But as Andy says, I do love a 6-pointer. It is a big moment for the season. Leicester game in Ellen Road last year was probably that big moment for us when we won that game. I was like, right, we're back in this. Yeah. And I think this is a chance if we get the win to go, we're leading this. Come chase us, and I really want to see that. But any final thoughts, stats before we wrap up?
Yeah, just one stat really. If we were to get the result on Monday evening, Daniel Farke will have reached 50 victories as Leeds United manager, and he'll have done it in the quickest time ever in our history. He'll have done it in 86 games. Simon Grayson's in 87. So that's one to look out for. So he could create a little bit of history on Monday evening. Hopefully he does, and we come out the right side with 3 points in Lancashire and a red hot atmosphere at Turf Moor on Monday evening.
Yeah. Where's that comment gone? Where'd it go? It was there 2 seconds ago. There we go. Why so much negativity? Not negativity, Wayne. Bit of realism here. Leeds aren't going to win every single game this season. Of course, I want them to win every game this season. Of course, I go into every game wanting them to win. But there are games that you've got to look at and go, it's an away game against a side that don't concede an awful lot of goals. If they defend well, our away record's not brilliant. I keep saying not brilliant. I mean in comparison to the other teams that are in that promotion race, the top 3 or 4 sides. So for me, if there's a likely slip up, Wayne, for me, it's this game. I hope we don't slip up, but I think if there was a slip up, it could be this one. But I hope I'm wrong. I really, really do. I want us to win. And again, half my brain is saying we put 3 past them and tell the rest of the league to come at us. And then another part of my brain is saying possibly lose this 1-1-0. So that's depends on that first goal stats. It really does. It's such a big marker for Leeds. You could feel it in Ellen Road. We scored inside the first minute on Wednesday. There was all of a sudden the tension seemed to go away. We've got this. This is over. 1 minute in. So get the first goal. Farke's got the best win percentage of any manager right now, doesn't he? For Leeds.
Yes. I think he's on 57.5. I know it's all relative because obviously Very had over 700 games and what have you, and Farke's only had 85. So it's very difficult to judge it. But over that period, yes, he does have the best win ratio. But theoretically, Nigel Gibbs has the best win ratio ever because he managed Leeds for 1 game against Huddersfield in 2014, won 5-1, 100% record. Brad McDermott came back in the next day. It's all relative, things like that.
I hope that's an acceptable answer, Wayne. He's saying, having watched Burnley and Sheffield United, not overly impressed. Yeah, I got to be honest. I did watch Sheffield United tonight and think they're not great. They're really not great. They sat back for a lot of the game, which was unusual. But yeah, we'll see. Look, we're not. Oh, somebody called me. Someone said I consider myself an oracle. I was like, I've never ever claimed anything even remotely close to that, and I'm usually wrong. So yeah, look. Fingers crossed we get 3 points. Right, folks, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you very much for watching today's news. There's a bonus news video that's available as well. Nipper, you're asking how to get in touch to promote your business. If you go to the front page of my YouTube channel where it gives all the information about the channel, click there and there's an email address. Just buy me an email, mate, and we'll have a chat about it if you want. And also, if you want to get in touch and get this hoodie or some of the merch, you can click the link down below in the description, which probably isn't there now, but it is in the news video today. So you can check that out. Folks, massive thanks. Stats, thank you. Enjoy your evening, pal. See you, folks. Bye.